Saboteur is a 1942 film directed by Alfred Hitchcock. It stars Robert Cummings as a man who goes on the run when the aircraft factory he works at is sabotaged and leads to the death of one of his friends. He's blamed for that death and for the sabotage of the factory. So he goes on the run and he has to clear his name. This is a common trope throughout much of Hitchcock's work. You think of films like North by Northwest, and I've got to say, when you think about those films, you realise Hitchcock did it much, much better. This definitely has a lot of Hitchcock hallmarks. It kind of makes me wish that Hitchcock had have gone on to direct a Bond film. I think his kind of way of thinking, his aesthetic would really suit a Bond film. The way it zips all over the place to different locations, and we follow this kind of government conspiracy thing. It's not really government, it's a conspiracy of people in high power, lots of money. The main villain, played by Otto Kruger, kind of feels like a Bond villain. You know, he feels like he's ripped right out of the pages of a Bond novel or from a Bond film. And he's actually the best thing about this film, if I'm being perfectly honest. The start of this, the first 15 minutes or so, are really intriguing. Very well shot, you know, it sets up the story really nicely. And I'm engrossed, really engrossed. But it very quickly starts to go downhill as this character, Barry, he meets all these different characters, these various people on his journey, and just almost seemingly with every person he meets, there is a coincidence or a contrivance, I guess is the better name for it. So a lot of the things that he discovers, a lot of the moments that kind of send him on the next leg of his journey, like I say, that they happen by sheer coincidence. And if it wasn't for those coincidences, he'd be dead in his tracks. He'd have nowhere else to go. It's kind of you got to suspend disbelief a little bit too much, I feel, and just go along with it. If you do that, I think you will get some enjoyment out of it. And I think to an extent, I got to a certain point where I just kind of gave up and said, okay, just surrender to it. And I did enjoy it. You know, there's some set pieces in this that are very typically Hitchcock. I think of the end scene in this on the Statue of Liberty is definitely pure Hitchcock, and very well shot, I must say. Given this was shot in 1942, it still looks really incredible. Not overly chuffed by the sound design or the lack thereof in that moment. I'm sure some people will say that was done on purpose to add tension, to have this silence while this gripping thing is going on. To me personally, it was distracting because I instantly kind of recognised that there's no sound. But there was a few little sounds, like the ruffle of somebody's shirt, or a little bit of wind. Not enough wind given how high up they were. So because of that, it was very distracting. But even so, that sequence, as I say, is really spectacular in the way that it's shot. I gotta say, I'm not overly keen on the two leads. Priscilla Lane and Robert Cummings don't really have that much chemistry, and Cummings himself, to me, I can't say I've seen him in anything else, but he doesn't strike me as a particularly great leading man. When you look at some of the other men that Hitchcock worked with, like Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart and whatnot, not one of his best leading men. So we meet all these various characters. We get this guy who kind of drives him across country, who just jibber jabbers the whole way. It feels a little bit twee, a little bit quaint, by today's standards, the way it's performed and whatnot. And then we have this blind man again, a coincidence kind of thing. He's handcuffed at this point. He needs refuge. He finds this hut in the middle of the woods. Someone in there, but hey ho, he just happens to be blind, and it's like, oh man, again, contrived. And then when we find out that this guy realises he's this escaped man, he turns out to be this really lovable blind man who, because he's blind, he can see things that other people can, because he hears it instead, and he hears that this guy is truly a good man inside. He just knows it, and it's just, it's stuff like that. It's a bit wishy-washy. It is a film that kind of celebrates the goodness and the kind of down-to-earth level of most Americans, I think is what it's trying to say. You know, it's saying people of power, people of money, that kind of thing, they're the ones who are going to screw you over. But your average American is just really good-hearted, and that's kind of where the film is going. Some more characters he meets are these circus freaks. You know, it's just like you couldn't get the most any more eclectic group of people. This blind man, this crazy kind of chatterbox guy, circus freaks, and it's just, yeah, it's all designed to build up this picture that actually, you know, people who are down at the bottom, they just want the best for each other. They're willing to help each other, even though by all the evidence that you're looking at, you should be shopping this guy into the police. They have nothing else to go on other than the fact that he has a warm smile and, yeah, he talks nice, but not sure that would fly today, to be honest. So all in all, this film does kind of feel like a bit of a fluff piece. You know, if you're a Hitchcock fan and you want to see where the likes of some of his greater films kind of started, you can go back, you can watch this, and you, like I say, you can see some of the elements he would take on and improve upon. I just think this could have done with having a better script. Some great set pieces, some good character moments in and amongst the fluff, but overall a bit disappointing. I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. Not Hitchcock's finest. Have you seen Saboteur? And if so, what did you think about it? Comment below, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and until next time, crack in.